The next project on my 1966 Lincoln Continental is going to be painting both the engine block and the heads. Now, if you just watched the previous video where I painted a lot of the engine parts that go on the block and the heads, I actually primed them before I painted them, but I'm not going to be doing that with the block and heads. Why is that? For the previous parts, I really wanted to maintain coverage and consistency, and that's why I primed all of the parts, including the cast iron intake. However, for the block and the heads, I'm going straight to the Hirsch enamel, and that's because the castings are porous, so it's going to allow the paint to stick without requiring that primer layer. And then also, again, back in 1966, all of these parts were hand painted without a primer, so I really want to maintain that OEM authentic texture that you're going to get with that straight Hirsch enamel. So let's go ahead and get started on that part of the project now. And here is the finished product. So this is head number 1 of 2, head number 2 of 2, and now over to the completed engine block. Looking good. Great. Both heads as well as the block are now painted. They had a full 14-day cure period, and these can now go up to the engine builder, California Street Machine, to have the whole engine put together. Now, this video was just the painting of the block and the heads. However, if you're interested in the supplies I used, the paint I used, and why, look at part 1, which was the cleaning, priming, and prepping of all the engine parts that go onto this block and these heads. And I will link to that in the description so you can actually review that as well. So stay tuned for more content on the restoration of my 1966 Lincoln Continental. And the next project is going to be removing the seat, which is going to be helpful in order to remove the steering column, which will be helpful in order to remove the dash, which will be helpful in order to remove the box inside of the engine bay that both the heater core and the evaporator core go into, so that I can start the cleanup process of under the hood. Thanks, guys.